Hey guys, happy Friday. What's going on? Oh, hey, and you know this. Hey, let's talk about it. What's going on? Sweet Ace is Silhouette. What's going on? Hey, Keonce, what's going on, guys and ladies? Okay, let's get into it. We know what's been going on. If you guys have been watching Lori Vallow this week, we watched the first 2 days. The first 2 days were very much giving snooze. Um, Day 3 led into just because for me, sometimes the technical part, I like sometimes when cases open up and they go straight for the story and there's, you know, key witnesses, or maybe like the lead detective, things like that. And there were on Monday, but I don't know. So anyway, so Wednesday, if you remember, Charles had met a lady. I'm just going to jump right in. On Wednesday, Charles had met a lady on like the Mormon version of Christian Single. The minute I go start talking, here comes Portia. Like, Portia, get your own mic, get your computer, and you go live. It's like, or maybe it's my fault because I go live around the same times, and she just gets very vocal and active when I start talking. Anyway, also because the mailman and all et ceteras up and down the street. Anyway, happy Friday, Bougie Gang. Okay, so Charles, before he passed away, had gotten on like Christian Mingle for Mormons, right? So he was on Mormon Mingle, yes, and had met a lady. And her name was it Nancy Joe? Girl. Um this exchange was quite interesting. So let's just go through some highlights because yesterday Lori's brother Adam was on, Charles's sister, Lori's former friend. Like, it got interesting. Okay, it definitely got interesting. And if the let me see something. The mailman just pulled up. Hold on. Okay. I wasn't sure cuz FedEx came yesterday and couldn't leave something, and I think it was my sunglasses. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the post office. Someone apologized for the post office the other day. Maybe that was either yesterday or Wednesday. And then, guys, if you guys were over with me on Love Lies and Lace Fronts this morning, I did end up. Someone attempted to scam me, the Easy Pass scam. And remember, I told you I put in two different cards. Both cards got hit, but luckily, I used my American Express card, and they did not put through the charges. Also, because I keep a zero balance on that card, and it was just like some random stuff like Amazon and Best Buy. And it just wasn't like my typical. I use that to go out to dinner, lunch, you know what I'm saying? Like running around, random stuff. And I just always pay it off. Like I've never bought, and I've been a member for over 10 years. And it's just not the way I use that card. It's like random expenses. And I don't know. For whatever reason, it hit a red flag. Also, if there's something that is red flaggish, they'll usually send a text and want you to send like a yes, it's me type thing. Um, anyway, also this occurred in a city I don't live in, Atlanta. Go figure. Um, and on top of that, um, the card, my Amex got added to somebody's Samsung digital wallet recently, which was weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm an Apple person, and it got added to a digital wallet. Crazy, right? So I don't know. Anyway, it's under investigation. I fell for it. It was my bad. I wasn't sure because we have those easy pass. We have the easy pass in my city, and it's not a regular occurrence, and I had just paid a bill for an outstanding easy pass. So whatever. Anyway, it's fine. Um but if I get a call, I might have to talk to them. I don't know. It's like, I've never had this happen before, and they call and it's like, okay, we need you to do this. We need you to do that. We need you to reset this. We need you to reset that. We need to, da, da, da. It was so aggravating and annoying. I was like, can you guys just call me back on Saturday? It was very much annoying. Anyway, long story short, everything is going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. So I've been keeping up with the case. And yesterday was a doozy. Anyway, let's get into what happened. I just want to visit Nancy Joe and then what happened yesterday. So that could keep us for a minute. Anyway, obviously the case is still going. I almost feel like based on what's going on, like could this be over sometime like soon? Because I feel like they're kind of going fast. They budgeted for 6 weeks, but I almost don't feel like it's going to take them 6 weeks. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think it's going to take them as long as they thought it would because they've already gone a week and they've covered a lot of ground. So I don't know any of you guys who are watching if you're thinking the same thing. It's giving like it's going to go much faster because they've gone through, let's say by today they will have gone through half of their witnesses, and if you've gone through half of your witnesses and it's been only a week and you budget for 6 weeks, Lori has no witnesses that she could get in contact with. I think they're going to be finished early. I don't know. Anybody who's been watching, let me know. That's one thing. That's one thing I think is that it's going to finish sooner than later. Also, not meaning it's finishing today, but I just don't think it's going to take 6 weeks. That's number one. Number two, I'm wondering when Lori is going down like the wrong, when she's taken a left turn in her questioning, why isn't her advisory council advising? Maybe because she is the lead attorney. At the end of the day, she is the one. I guess maybe she has to ask for help. Maybe she's instructed them not to ask for help. Oh, really? Another small plane crash? I heard a helicopter went down too. That's awful. Thank you for letting us know, Miss Buckeye. I'm just wondering why nobody is alerting her, like when to properly object, when to, like, she's just, I don't know. This is crazy. Anyway, let's hear. This is kind of a little bit gossipy, but of course, who doesn't like that? So this is Nancy Joe. This is the lady that Charles, Lori's husband, met on Mormon Mingle. Okay. Let's just listen to this. Alan Speed, thank you. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate that. Are we in the right place? Okay. And then this is on day 3. And then after we listen to this, we'll go to day 4 because Lori's brother, Lori's ex-friend, and Lori's sister-in-law, baby, it's a mess. It's like, why do you have reason to believe that I killed Charles? Did you hear that did you hear any conversations to make you think that I was in it was a conspiracy? No, but I saw a shitload of evidence. I was like, Lori, why are you asking these questions? But she's already got 3 life sentences, so does it really, I don't know if it makes a difference anyway. If, I mean, it's like, come on.
Stand right here and be sworn in.
The judge is so...
Right here and be sworn in. All right, come on up. You're going to stand right here and be sworn in.
Yeah, we're going to watch that too. We're going to get caught up between day 3 and day 4 Today is day 5. We'll just be behind. We'll get into, if there's anything noteworthy, we'll talk about day 5 this weekend. Maybe we'll just wrap up the week at some point over the weekend. And yeah, we'll just keep it like that.
You do solemnly swear that testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome.
All right, you're going to come around the court reporter, have a seat up here to my left.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, my name is Nancy Jo Hancock.
And
Nancy Jo Hancock.
do you go by Nancy Jo?
I do.
How old are you?
61.
And do you currently work?
I'm self-employed.
Do you live here in Arizona?
In Mesa, yes.
Were you born and raised here?
Born and raised here.
Do you have your own children?
5.
Do you have grandchildren?
15.
Busy
Okay,
person.
well, okay,
Yes.
Nancy Jo.
I'm going to direct you to a person by the name of Charles Vallow. Did you ever meet a person by that name?
I did.
How did you meet him?
I'm divorced. I was on an LDS dating site, and when new members join, it tells you this is someone new. And he sent me a message, and we began messaging.
Initially, did you just talk to him do you talk through the website? How does that work?
Through the website at first, and then he asked for my phone number, and then we were texting and talking on the phone as well.
Do you recall approximately when you met him?
It was early July, I believe the 3rd.
And so you said you guys would text. Was this,
A lot.
what's a lot to you?
Charles was a texter and a talker, and he was good at banter, and there were hundreds of texts by the time I had met him.
You said you talked on the phone with him as well?
For hours.
Did you have a conversation with him once that lasted almost 3 hours?
Probably more than one, yes.
When you met Charles in early July, did you know he was still married?
So do you think she was being, is she trying to be snarky? So she would let Lori know, yes, we talked a lot. We talked at length, and we were getting to know each other. Like, she was like, hours, many, numerous, to say the least. Like, it's like,
He told me he was in the process of a divorce.
Okay. Did you know whether or not he was living with his wife at that time?
He was in Houston. His soon-to-be ex-wife was here. When he came to Arizona, he was...
so you think it was appropriate snark? I mean, Lori deserves all the smoke. I'm just asking you guys your thoughts on the matter.
Meeting a realtor to find a place to live when he was here as well.
So when you're first meeting him, he's out of state, but he has a connection here to Arizona, so you keep talking to him?
Correct.
As you guys are talking and texting, did you eventually have enough interest that you decided you wanted to meet him?
Yeah.
Did you know what Charles did for a living?
Life insurance is something with money. I try not to have that be the focus when I'm getting to know somebody, so that I get to know them for them and not what they do for a living.
Okay, so you didn't really care too much about
No.
what his job was?
No.
Did you know he traveled a lot for work?
Yes.
As you and Charles are talking and texting, just sort of yes or no, can you tell us, did he get very detailed about his life with you?
Yes.
Did you know if Charles had children?
Yes.
Just yes or no again, did you talk to him about his wife specifically?
A lot.
Did he mention his wife?
She said, say yes or no. She said, say yes or no. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a shade, a hint of snark there.
Just yes or no again, did you talk to him about his wife specifically?
A lot.
Did he mention his wife by name?
Yes.
What did you believe his wife's name was?
Lori Vallow?
Have you ever met Lori Vallow?
No.
Again, just sort of yes or no. Did Charles talk to you about
Your Honor.
why?
Objection. Leading.
Your Honor, objection.
Objection.
I haven't heard the question yet. Go ahead.
So just yes or no.
Lori needed her medication today. I don't know if she got fully dosed or not.
Did Charles talk to you about why he
Leading
was
is yes or no.
No, leading is a question that suggests the answer, so she can answer yes or no.
So again, just yes or no. Did Charles talk to you about why he was separated from his wife?
Yes.
Based upon your discussions, how long did you think there had been issues going on between Charles and his wife?
For several months, but more intensely since the beginning of that year was 2019, so since the beginning of that year.
You told us that Charles talked to you let me ask you, yes or no, did he talk to you in great detail about his relationship with Lori Vallow?
Yes.
You told us you met on an LDS dating site, right?
Correct.
So are you a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
I am.
Was there anything that you were hearing that you thought were outside of your beliefs?
A lot of things.
As Charles was telling you,
But let me ask you guys a question. You're a hot single. You're single, okay, of a certain age. You got 5 kids, you got 15 grandkids. You're sporting a bust down and big hoop earrings. You've got your own business. You're cool, right? You meet a guy and he sits there and talks to you for hours about his wife, not ex-wife, wife, that he has not started a divorce with at the moment. I'm just wondering. I mean, she said she liked him. It wasn't going much further. And she said she told him not many people would be interested in moving forward with him until he was completely unencumbered, right? But okay.
these things about his wife, can you tell us his demeanor?
And I mean, yeah, and all he wants to do is like trauma bond and drop tea on his wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fast forward, you talk to this guy, he's talking to you for hours. It sounds like a lot of the conversations, not everything, but a lot, were conversations about his wife. They were clearly having problems. And if you had a chance to look into your crystal ball and know, number one, I like this guy, and the sad reality is that he's going to end up dead. And then also fast forward from there, I'm going to be at the box testifying, and everybody's going to know that I was talking to this guy, and now I got to testify, and this weirdo chick that he warned me about was going to be her own pro se attorney. Can you believe this? That's why Fit Mom said she was going to be out of there. Just imagine this. This is like a nightmare. I like Nancy Jo, and I like the way she testified. I like her snark. Don't get me wrong. I'm just that those were the first things that came to my mind. Like, oh my God, spoiler alert, sis. No, he did not ghost you. When you found out he didn't ghost you, he actually was taken out by this woman he was sitting there complaining to you about. And oh, guess what? You're a witness.
What his
You're going
voice
to be on the witness list.
was like, what his attitude was like as he's talking about that.
I just remember thinking that he was strangely calm and still kind towards Lori, even through what they were going through.
You told us you were aware he had a child.
I think he could have been on a dating site. I'm not picking at whether he was dating or she was dating or her choice in dating him. Me personally, I've never liked to date people who, who would sit and tell you about, their ex. So if I'm dating a guy back in the day and he's telling me about his girlfriend, that's a no-no. I don't want to hear about that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering, like, just because they're kind of like a middle-age romance or middle-age friendship, if you will, the fact that he's got a wife and kids and drama, and that's what you're talking about, and then you're testifying to the fact that you guys talked a lot about the ex-wife, like how were you getting to know him on him? That's just to me like a sign that that probably wouldn't have been someone I wanted to talk to,
Did
no
you
matter how
know
nice he was.
where that child lived, who the child lived with?
Yes.
Who was that?
He
was
needed
living-
a therapist, not a date. Thank you. It was on some trauma bonding, right?
With Lori at that time.
You have
He had
this-
older children as well, but the young one was living with Lori.
You have these conversation with Charles about his wife and these things that to you seem outside the LDS religion. Why do you keep talking to him?
Well, he was very charming and kind and funny and very clever, really good banter. A lot of craziness going on around him, but he seemed pretty awesome.
Now, you guys had just known each other for a few days. Did you think you and Charles were exclusive?
Heavens no.
So would you be surprised to
She
learn
said,
that he was
"Heavens,
talking to
no."
other people on other websites?
Not at all.
Did he in fact share some of that with you?
He did. He shared some pictures of some woman that had sent him that were quite scanty, and then proceeded to ask him for money, and thought how funny that was, that that's what people were doing online.
Did you eventually
Charles was messy. So he got some pictures from other women from Mormon Mingle and sent her the pictures to laugh about. Even though, okay, sis asked for money, but it's like, Charles, you were being a little bit messy, sir.
meet Charles in person?
I did.
And how many times did you get to meet him in person?
Just once.
What day was that?
He was flying in from Houston, and we had arranged to go to dinner that night. His plane was delayed, and so I met him that night on the 10th of July.
July 10th, was that 2019?
Correct.
And was that then here in Arizona that you met?
It was.
Hey, Victoria,
You said
you're not
that
late, boo.
You had original plans to meet and they got pushed back?
Yeah, his plane was delayed, so we met a little later than we were supposed to.
Oh. Where did you guys meet? What did you do?
At the Keg restaurant by Santan Mall, and we ate, but we talked until the restaurant closed. We were the last people there.
So you shut the place down?
We did. I finally looked around and I realized that we were the only ones there, and told them we probably should leave, and then we went outside and talked by my truck for another 45 minutes or so.
Based upon everything you had heard, was Charles coming in to see you, or was there some other reason he was in Arizona?
Charles was ecstatic to see JJ. He was coming to see JJ. He was so excited to take him to school the next morning. He was also coming to look for a place to live. He had an appointment to meet a realtor friend after he had taken JJ to school. And then he was also supposed to meet with Lori's brother, Adam.
So you and Charles had this evening on the 10th. Were you going to meet again?
Yeah, we were supposed to meet up in the late afternoon after he got through with the things that I just said.
So did you have a set time for the next
No.
day? Can you describe Charles?
Okay, so listen to that. She said he was going in, this was the 10th, I think, and
Taken
She said
JJ
he
to
was-
school. And then he was also supposed to meet. He was also coming to look for a place. So excited to take him to school the next morning. Ecstatic to see JJ. He was coming to see JJ. So excited to take him to school the next morning. He was also coming to look for a place to live. He had
So she met him the day before he died.
an appointment to meet a realtor friend after he had taken JJ to school. And then he was also supposed to meet with Lori's brother, Adam.
So you and Charles had this evening on the 10th. Were you going to meet again?
Yeah, we were supposed to meet up in the late afternoon after he got through with the things that I just said.
So did you have a set time for the next
No.
day? Can you describe Charles? Was he a fit man? What was his size?
Very fit and into physical fitness. And while we were talking, I know that he was swimming. I got to go to the gym, and yeah, very, very fit, strong.
When you were talking with Charles on July 10th that evening, let me ask first, do you recall about what time you ended up meeting him?
It was around 7. I got there first, and but it was right around 7, between 7 and 7:15, I'd say.
And do you recall about how long you guys were together until you finally
Well, the
left?
restaurant closed at 10, and they were closed, and no one else was there. So it was after that we left, and then, like I said, we stood by my truck and talked for another half hour, 45 minutes after that.
Okay. So a later evening.
Yes.
Can you tell us, you said that you understood he was going to go see his son. What was his demeanor about with regards to JJ and seeing his son?
Like a kid on Christmas morning. He was very excited to see JJ.
You had talked about his demeanor in,
She sounds like she's about to cry. It's like, sis, that was the first time I mean, maybe she was like, oh, he was nice looking and all the things, but it's like,
when he would talk about
I don't know.
his
It's giving a little
wife.
dramatic.
On that evening or ever, did you ever hear him?
Jury have they? They finally came back. It's going to be guilty. What do you think? It's going to be guilty. All right, let's finish. Please don't drop the verdict in the chat. Let's get through this first, and then we'll go over to, I'll go find it, but I think we're probably, if we give it 15 minutes, we'll be through her testimony because I don't think she comes back. She doesn't come back because they go straight to someone else. We'll go over to
swear or
Monica.
use
It might take a
derogatory
minute.
names or anything like that towards Lori Vallow?
I was surprised with the details that he was describing to me, how kindly he still spoke about Lori, and his hope was that she would be a great mom for JJ.
Did that stand out to you?
A lot.
Why?
Most men that you date are not nearly so kind about their ex and describe them in more derogatory ways and don't speak so kindly. And I remember just thinking how odd, in a good way, it was that he was not speaking in a derogatory way about Lori.
So that made an impression on you.
It did.
During any of your conversations with Charles, did you ever learn?
Okay, so it's on the clock. I'm over here on the verdict, and it does say jury has reached a verdict, but they're not back yet. They just put that up. Let's see. They put that up. They could have put that up maybe 5 minutes ago. So it could take a minute. We have to see. It could take a minute. How quickly they get there. So I'm keeping an eye on it. When they flip over, we'll listen to it live.
That he had a life insurance policy.
I did.
As you are talking, did Charles really just tell you a lot about his life?
A lot about his life, yes.
Were you almost surprised at the amount of detail of his life that you learned?
Yeah.
Did you understand whether or not any changes had been made by Charles to the life insurance policy?
He told me that he had changed his beneficiary to his sister Kay, and as he was proceeding to tell me some of the things that were going on, I suggested to him that maybe he should let Lori know that he had changed the beneficiary on his life insurance to Kay.
Why would you tell him that?
Because of the things that he was describing to me and his concerns for his safety and the thought that money would come into play.
Do you recall where you were when you made that suggestion to Charles?
We were sitting at dinner at the Kay.
So this is on July 10th.
Correct.
What was his demeanor like when you told him that?
He kind of chuckled and said that he probably should. Said that was a good idea.
You told us that you don't know Lori Vallow, correct?
I do not.
Would it be fair to say that you sort of have no beef in this case?
I have no beef in this case.
Do you?
No beef in this case. Okay. Let me just say another thing. So that was good advice for her to let, because, you know, there are people out here who are thirsty for insurance policies. But it was too late because he was less than 24 hours away from his ultimate fate with his wife, his then wife, Lori. And that's too bad. Nancy Joe, like I said, I feel like she's pretty cool. Like she just seems to be a together woman of a certain age. And it's unfortunate that it turned out the way it did. I don't know that Charles would have been the one for her because he was definitely needing someone to talk to, clearly, because he was letting out all of his business. And a man with a woman like Lori Vallow in his life is not someone that a together woman wants to get herself involved with. So, like, Lori's
Know
nut
any of
job.
Charles's family back then?
No,
Any of Lori Vallow's family back then?
no.
Hey, Be the Light. Hey, everybody coming in. Hit the thumbs up for me. Happy Friday,
When
guys.
you,
We're going through some highlights, and apparently the Monica Sementelli verdict is in. So as soon as I've got it on another screen, as soon as they come off of the medallion, we'll go over there. So we're listening to Nancy Joe. Nancy Joe met Charles the day before he passed away, and he was telling her all of his tea. As fate would have it, though, she is a independent, neutral party that seems to have some information that only she would know because of her interactions with Charles. And I guess it is good because he did have someone outside of the circle that he gave personal information to that could speak to the situation. So,
I guess, left Charles after talking in the parking lot that evening, you told us that you had sort of
hey, Miss
unformalized
Ann. Hey,
plans
Boo.
to see Charles the next day.
Correct.
Was there like someone would call someone, or how was that supposed to go?
He just said that he needed to do the things that I said, to have a morning with JJ, find a place to live, meet up with Lori's brother Adam, and, you know, then we would meet up somewhere for a late lunch or something.
Did you ever try to reach him on July 11th of 2018?
I did.
Did you try texting him ever?
Around 11-ish in the morning, I texted him and asked how his morning with JJ had been.
Did you get a response back?
I did not.
Did you try calling him?
A couple hours later, I called once, yes.
Did you get a call back?
I did not.
What were you thinking when you didn't hear from Charles after you spent this night?
I was puzzled how I had misread what I had thought been a good date so wrong that he would not even take the courtesy to reply. Wondered why, but just figured that was what his decision was.
So, you know, Lori took his phone. Lori took his, when he got to the house, got JJ, put JJ in the car. Lori comes up and takes his phone. That makes him get out the car, go in the house. I wonder, did she see Nancy's messages? Not that that would have made a difference because they probably already had the plan in place. But you know, she's the type that she can do what she wants to do, but he probably could not do what he wanted to do. And I wonder, she had his phone. I wonder if she was reading the messages from Nancy Joe or saw that he was on the Mormon Mingle site.
So on July 11th, when you're not hearing back from Charles, did you know that he had been shot and killed?
No.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, she may have really liked him. Like they connected. They connected on the text. They connected on phone. She met him. She said he was nice looking. He was physically fit. You know, she probably was thinking like, okay, I can do this. I'm sure you know what I'm saying? You know when you meet a nice guy. So she probably was feeling like, ooh, check, check. Now the not the checks for me, which would have been problems, which is what I already said. The over talking about the wife, lots of information about what you got going on that's drama. That would have been problematic for me, but everybody's different.
Later learn that Charles had been killed from seeing something on TV.
I was watching TV in December, I believe, and his picture came on the screen, and it said that he was dead.
When you
Damn, December?
learned that in December, that he had been killed, did you learn when that had happened? Did you try to investigate?
I did. They said the date, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's right about when I went out with him. And so I went to my phone and thought I probably had deleted our text conversations. If I'm not dating someone and I text, I usually delete the thread, but I had not. And I had the conversations, and then I realized that I was with him until 10:45 that night and that he died at 7:30-ish the next morning.
And did you later then talk with the police in April of 2020 to tell them what you knew about this case?
I did.
Thank you. The state has no other questions.
Cross?
Nancy Joe, right?
Correct.
And we have not met before,
We
correct?
have not.
Okay. And you stated that your husband, or my husband, told you that he was going through a divorce. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you have any way to verify that?
No, I didn't try to verify that.
Okay. So did it surprise you later to find out that we were not in the process of a divorce?
Charles was in the process of a divorce.
He was not in the process of a divorce. Did it surprise you to find that out? You've seen it all on TV where we're not getting divorced.
Okay.
So on the website that you met him, did he say he was divorced?
I'm not certain.
Would you have gone on a date with him if he would have said he was married?
If I would have realized how married he still was, maybe not. But I just met for dinner. I wasn't sleeping with him or anything.
Do you go on dates with married men? Not naturally?
I was like, ah.
I'm going to also object under 611 for harassment.
All right. I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, do I not have a right to cross-examine this witness for what she has already testified to?
You can
It's just, you can go, ma'am.
cross-examine her about what she's testified to.
So you did go on a date with married men,
I went on a date with Charles.
but you did not know he was married.
I knew his divorce was not final.
His divorce was not started.
Okay.
Okay.
Would it
in your
surprise
text
you to know that
messages,
that he had not
you
filed
asked
for divorce?
Charles if he was a good kisser. Is that correct?
Maybe, sure.
Did he answer that text message?
I'm
gonna
sure.
object to
I'm sure he did.
relevance. Again, 611 harassment.
I'll sustain the objection for relevance and hearsay.
So are you trying to tell me and this jury that you went on one date with my husband and he told you all the details of our lives?
I'm telling you the truth, and that's what I know.
So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about
yourself. Do you imagine? This is a nightmare. She said, don't flatter yourself. I like Nancy Joe, though. Nancy Joe is cute, and I like her hair.
Talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
You knew a lot about me, right?
I knew what I've testified to.
What else did you talk about on your date?
Lots of things.
Like what, for instance?
Life, kids, the church, lots of things.
Okay. Did he tell you about anything about our other 4 children?
Yes,
So you knew that we did have 5 children as well?
I did.
Okay. Did he talk to you about my daughter Tylee?
He did.
Did he talk about his relationship with her?
I don't recall that.
Did he talk about the contention in his relationship with my daughter Tylee?
I don't recall that.
I'm sure you don't.
And I'm going to object to comments by the defendant made after questions testifying.
Let's sustain the objection.
On your date, you talked about my husband was a life insurance salesman, is that correct?
I knew he did something with money and insurance, but I really didn't know the details of what he did for work. Like I said, I don't ask the details about what someone does for work when I'm trying to get to know someone.
But you knew that he sold life insurance, you stated that.
I believe that I had a vague understanding that he did something with insurance.
And then he brought that up again at dinner.
No, we didn't talk about his work at dinner.
I thought you said you did talk about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said you did talk about that he changed the life insurance policy at dinner.
Well, you were asking me if we talked about that he sold insurance, which that didn't happen. But yes, he did tell me that he changed the beneficiary of his life insurance policy at dinner.
Did he tell you how much his life insurance policy was for?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
$1 million.
Did he tell you how much my life insurance policy was for?
No, I do not recall.
You don't recall?
We didn't talk about you very much in that vein.
When did you talk to him about me very much then? If it wasn't at dinner, was it in your text messages?
We were talking about what he was going through in the process of separating from you, not about what your life insurance policy was worth. And we talked about you on the phone, and when I say you, meaning what he was doing as he was going through this separation.
So let me understand. You were dating some different men on this website, right? From the websites.
Sure.
Would you say it was common for men to be talking so much about their supposed ex-wives during their conversations with a potential?
It's actually very common.
Really?
Really.
Interesting.
And again, Your Honor, I'm
All right.
going to object to the defendant making comments after her questions.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I won't do that again.
All right, please stop.
I'll just ask the questions.
Thank you.
So there were some text messages between you and my husband after the dinner on July 10th. Is that correct?
Correct.
What time would those text messages have occurred?
After dinner,
What time?
10:45-ish.
10:45 to what?
I'm not certain, ma'am. After dinner.
10:45 to midnight? Maybe?
I just told you I don't know. Maybe.
What did you discuss in those text messages?
And I'm going to object to relevance again. If there's a specific area.
Sustain.
Lori is nuts.
You testified a minute ago that Charles told you a lot of things about his wife. You didn't say ex-wife, but you said wife. Is that correct?
Okay, sure.
What were a lot of things?
The things that I've testified to.
Can you be more specific?
Am I allowed to do a narrative then?
Let's go on sidebar.
I'm just saying, Lori should have been mad about her hairstyle for the day. Lori, I don't know what she was. Lori has a head full of hair. She's got a lot of hair. You'd almost think she got clip-ins. And ma'am has some goofy situation going on. And here's Nancy in her nice powder pink blazer and bust down, natural dark hair. And I mean, probably got some color in it, but you know what I'm saying? Nancy's looking nice. Okay. And she's free. Nancy is free. And Lori is over there with that strange hairstyle thing going on. So they put the headphones on, which means that they're talking in private. There's the court secretary right there, the gentleman with the glasses. And trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, I think it's sidebar might be over.
I'll have the jury wait for a few minutes. We'll see if we can finish this witness as we go into the lunch hour. But I'll excuse the jury for just a few minutes because we're having technical difficulty with the court reporter being able to hear. Of what things did you discuss about me, meaning the defendant? Is that correct?
That's what
Yes.
I recall, Your Honor.
Are you sure you wanted to answer that question? Because you're opening up a really big door. If you want her to answer the question, I'll have her answer the question.
I mean, I feel like, do you think that the judge just gave her, I mean, he's just asking a question. He's not giving legal advice, but he said, are you sure you want her to answer that question? Because you're opening up a really big door. Where is her legal advisory? Doesn't she have 2 legal advisors sitting right there? Why are they not advising? Like, I do, unless she instructed them, unless I ask you something, I don't want your help. I don't know. It just seems ridiculous to the state to be paying for 2 lawyers to be sitting there to sit and do, like, basically be us and do nothing. It doesn't make any sense. And then she's just doing more and more damage.
How am I supposed to know what a lot of things are?
Why don't you talk to your fucking legal advisor, dodo head?
All right. If you want her to answer the question and there's no objection from the state, we'll
No
bring
objection.
the jury back in and have her answer the question. All right. Let's bring the jury in.
Lori, you're being stupid, but okay, that's why you already have 3 life sentences. She murdered her legal advisors. That's what you're saying, Kathy? Is this new tea? When did that happen? Did that happen last night? Are you saying that there's another case? Lori's got another case coming? There's 2 legal advisory councils that are missing in Maricopa County? It's got to be, because how are they not? They're getting paid. They're supposed to be on the clock. She's doing the trial out of spite. She's a nut job. She really is. All right, we've got the gift of time. What are we doing? And then they went to, that's not the end of it, because they ended up coming back. Why are we here? Oh, okay. Okay, Anjanette. Why are we, unless they cut this? I feel like that part got cut or something. Hold on. There was more to it. I feel like they went back, but I could be wrong. Hold on. Hold on. I think they're back with Sementelli. Hold on.
So that
All right, perfect timing. Gosh, we hit perfect timing all the time. Okay. Hold on.
We are on the record here with
Okay.
Sememtelli.
We're on the record with the Monica Sementelli trial, and the verdict is in. We are right at a good stopping point to go to this, and then we'll flip back over to Lori.
It is present to all counsel.
Put in the chat 1 for guilty, 2 for not guilty. 1 guilty, 2 not guilty. I'm putting mine in.
This time, the clerk, please read the verdicts.
In the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in Department 101, the people of the State of California versus Monica Sementelli, in case number BA 452-97502. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementelli, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section
Girl, stop
187A,
it.
a felony as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We further find the murder to be of the first degree. We further find the allegation that the murder of Fabio Sementelli was intentional and carried out by the defendant, Monica Sementelli, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1 to be true. We further find the allegation that the defendant, Monica Sementelli, intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A15 to be true. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror seat number 10, four-person. In the same case, title, and cause, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementelli, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder in violation of Penal Code Section 182A1, a felony as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror number 10, four-person. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes. Does the defense of the jury poll?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Please poll the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as I call your seat number, please answer yes or no to the question. Juror in seat number 1, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 2?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 3?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 4?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 5?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 6?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 7?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 8?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 9?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 10?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 11?
Yes.
And juror in seat number 12.
Yes.
The jury has been polled. The verdicts are ordered recorded. Both sides waive reading of the verdicts as recorded by the people
Yes.
and the defense.
Yes.
Your service now comes to an end. A couple things I need to tell you. First is my thanks. You made a tremendous sacrifice. We've been together for a long time. You are the backbone of this democracy, and for that, you have my endearing thanks. Next, the admonition I've given you many times is now lifted. You are free to discuss this case with anyone you so choose. You don't have to talk to anybody if you don't want to. This is up to you. The lawyers may want to talk to you. It's up to you whether you want to talk to the lawyers. If there is any misconduct, by the way, anyone approaches you, I want to hear about it. Next, all identifying information about yourselves is ordered sealed. It cannot be unsealed without an order by me, which I cannot do without notice to you. I hope your service before me wasn't too unpleasant, because I'm going to see you again soon. You're now discharged. The jury assembly will sign out. Thank you so much. Make room for the jury.
The judge is cutting up with some jokes there. Let's listen to it one more time. Monica, let me tell you something. You were a married woman. You had a nice husband with a good job. He made nice money. He had you in a beautiful home. Your ass stayed at home. You didn't have nothing else to do other than to make nice meals, get your daughters together, keep the kids nice and safe, make nice meals, entertain, all of the things. But you had to go mess around with the man at the gym. You needed to go and mess around with the old freaky racquetball instructor. Okay? That's what you wanted. You wanted to mess around with the guy at the gym, be nasty with the racquetball instructor, so much to the point where your best friends were asking you, Monica, you having an affair? Monica, what you got going on? Monica, you dressing up a lot lately. Monica, you got a little spring in your step. Monica, what you got going on? Fabio sitting up there going to trade shows and bringing home his check. And what do? What's the thanks you give him? You have your lover come through and hurt this man and take the man away from his children. And you thought you was going to get away with it, baby? Huh. Let's hear it one more time. Girl, she's mad. Sis mad. She hasn't been to the hairdresser. Look at what she got going on. Sis looks like she aged about 10 years. Corn star. You over there messing with a corn star at the gym. 69 God. Okay? Being nasty, taking pictures, sending them on the text messages. Look at you.
It's time the clerk please read the verdicts.
She thinks she was going to get off. She really... Let me tell you something. The trial that she just had for all these days and how these people dragged you, how just the truth, not even the people were trying to drag her, just the drag of the truth of it all, right? The truth of the matter. Are you so delusional, Monica, that you actually thought you were going to get out? You thought that you were going to get a not guilty? Is that what you thought? You thought, I don't know how she thought she was going to be set free on this one. Robert came and dropped all the tea. Her friend, her sister, they were looking at your text messages, your nude pictures, your daughter, your daughter came and dropped the information. Everybody said that man was over there at the wake at the house. Not only the irony of having your lover at the scene, but at the scene where he confessed to killing your husband. That's a fucking murder sentence. Do you imagine your lover kills your man and you have him over for cake and repast? You invited him to the repast? With all the family there, like he didn't need to be choked out in the bathroom. Someone should have took him out to the garage and handled him. He killed him out there on the patio. And you have him for the repast. Sis, what is your problem? And you thought you were getting off? I was like, the audacity, okay? Let's look at her reaction again. If you're not familiar with this case, and I'm not even exaggerating, I still haven't told you like half. Just what I've said alone, this trick thought it was okay and that she was going to get off. I cannot imagine how, like, her surprise. And it's like, sis, you were doing the fucking most, man. To where your lover thought it was a good idea to come to your house and kill your husband, and then you want people to think you weren't involved and your behavior after the fact?
In the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in Department 101, the people of the State of California versus Monica Sementelli, in case number BA 452-97502. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementelli, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We further find the murder to be of the first degree. We further find the allegation that the murder of Fabio Sementelli was intentional and carried out by the defendant, Monica Sementelli, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1 to be true. We further find the allegation that the defendant, Monica Sementelli, intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait, within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A15 to be true. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror seat number 10, four-person. In the same case, title, and cause, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementelli, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder in violation of Penal Code Section 182A1, a felony as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror number 10, four-person. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Does the defense of the jury poll?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Please poll the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as I call your seat number, please answer yes or no to the question. Juror in seat number 1, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 2?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 3?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 4?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 5?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 6?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 7?
Yes.
Juror in seat number
Yes,
8?
Yes.
Rob Baker.
Juror in seat number 9?
Doing a
Juror in
life
seat number
sentence.
10?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 11?
Yes.
And juror in seat number 12.
Yes.
The jury has been polled, the verdicts are ordered recorded. Both sides waive reading of the verdicts as recorded by the people
Yes.
and the defense.
Yes.
Your service now comes to an end. A couple things I need to tell you. First is my thanks. You made a tremendous sacrifice. We've been together for a long time. You are the backbone of this democracy, and for that, you have my endearing thanks. Next, the admonition I've given you many times is now lifted. You are free to discuss this case with anyone you so choose. You don't have to talk to anybody if you don't want to. This is up to you. The lawyers may want to talk to you. It's up to you whether you want to talk to the lawyers. If there is any misconduct, by the way, anyone approaches you, I want to hear about it. Next, all identifying information about yourselves is ordered sealed. It cannot be unsealed without an order by me, which I cannot do without notice to you. I hope your service before me wasn't too unpleasant, because I'm going to see you again soon.
The judge sounds like he does audiobooks or something, doesn't he? He sounds almost like Keith Morrison.
You're now discharged.
ma'am.
Sign out. Thank you so much. Make room for the jury.
I wonder in California, do they do sentencing right away? Is she going to get her? Let's see.
Could we request a date from the end of June, Your Honor?
Yes. That's a good date. And it is good. I'm waiting for a good date.
Sorry. June 26th, Your Honor?
How's that with the people?
May I have a moment?
Sure.
Did you say the 26th, counsel?
Yes.
Ooh, they going ready to put her in the shackles.
Is it possible to do it on a Monday or a Tuesday?
24th?
Judge, we have an evidentiary hearing on the 24th. We have an evidentiary hearing on the 24th.
23rd, Your Honor, would be fine.
Yeah, the 23rd would be better. Is that what that with us?
Better.
How's the 23rd?
Good.
Does that agree with you, ma'am? Now, can you present sentencing June 23, 2025, 8:30 a.m. Ms. Farmer, can I remand without?
What's the difference? I mean, you're just going back to LA County. So she's getting her sentencing June 23rd, 25. Let's get your handcuffs on, ma'am. All these people, like, you want to sit up there and cheat on your husband and then complain to your lover about your husband and put his life in danger, and all he's doing is taking care of you, paying the mortgage, taking care of the kids, and you sitting up there laying in the bed with your lover, and he thinks it's a good idea to go over there and take your husband out? Baby, look what happens. Look at you. That's embarrassing. Girl, they came straight over with the handcuffs. Was it worth it, Monica? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you killed them kids' father, somebody's brother. People loved him. You were laying up in there with Robert Baker, thought you were being cute, and now look at you. This is not cute. Bye. Love you. Bye. Bye. Call me later. Put some money on my books. No, she was, I don't think so. Not on murder. You saw she had the white armband on. I think she was remanded. She was on murder charges. She had a murder case. How do you unalive someone who provides for you? How do you unalive your husband? But you know, these people sit there and they complain to their boo things so much about their spouses that somebody you talk to the right person and you got a Pookie on your hands. And Pookie's like, oh, she must want me to do something about it. Or what did he do? You say something like, oh, what did he do? And then Pookie is over there creeping in the bushes. And you may as well have put a hit out on him. You know what I mean? That's what Lori Vallow may as well have been doing the same thing. And then the lady who was messing with the black guy, what's her name? Smetzer. That lady who was messing with the black guy at work, baby, she had some business with her too. Oh, hold on a second. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can find the spot. Hold on. Are they going back to Nancy Joe real quick, or are they?
Ms. Hancock, you said that.
Okay, this is the finish up of Nancy Joe. Okay, and
Ms.
then
Hancock.
so this was day 3, and then we'll jump over to day 4 because today is day 5, but we're not going to be watching day 5 live. If anything interesting happens, we'll recap on day 5 tomorrow. But this was the highlight for me of day 3, and then I'll show you the highlights of day 4 after we finish. Nancy Joe's almost done. We're back to the lady that Charles met on Mormon Mingle the day before he would meet his untimely death.
You said that you had seen on TV that my husband had passed away. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you indicated after that you saw my sister.
Oh, day 5 will be Monday. So today is administrative or just no court today? Okay, good.
Sister-in-law Kay
Very good. Okay.
Cock on that show,
We'll
and
be
you
caught up then.
reached out to her. Is that correct?
I didn't indicate that, but that is correct. I reached out to Kay after I saw that Charles had died.
Okay. And did you do that through Facebook or?
I did.
Social media? Okay. How many times between that first contact and now have you and Kay Woodcock communicated?
I've spoken to her just once. I've texted her here and there regarding, I've texted her here and there about other things. I don't know what I can say.
Okay. How many times have you texted her?
I have no idea.
Like more than 10?
Maybe.
Okay. Have you ever turned over those communications to the state?
No.
Did they ask you for them?
No.
Okay. Did you ever turn over the text conversations you had with my husband to the state?
I was never asked, but I understand that they retrieved them via having them through Charles' phone.
Okay.
I would have had I been asked.
Okay. Did you turn over any other communications that you had with anyone else regarding this case to the state?
I don't believe I've had any other regarding this case to turn over to anybody, so no.
Okay. How many times have you spoken to this prosecutor?
To Ms. Kay,
Yes, to Ms. K.
I met with her once in person and one other phone call, and then just text messages about the logistics of being here today.
Okay. How many text messages would you say?
I have no idea.
More than 10?
I know court was running behind, so she had to text me to come at a different time, probably counting yesterday and today to redo the time, more than 10, yes. Prior than that, probably no.
Okay. Did you have a meeting with her to prepare for this testimony?
I met with her once,
How long was that meeting?
an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay. Was anyone else there?
No?
Have you ever spoken to my brother Adam?
Yes, but only because I ran into him at my grandson's pickleball tournament the other day.
And how did you know that?
It's almost giving, and I'm sure, I don't know, Nancy Joe, but it's giving like either Phoenix is super small, and it might be because I live in a small city where you can run into like, oh, I didn't know you knew so and so, or da, 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 da. I live in one of these small cities, right? Big enough, but still small enough, right? But you're running into you met Charles. That's one thing. Charles got killed. That's a very odd occurrence. That doesn't happen to everybody, right? Then you run into Lori's brother at the pickleball tournament. Turns out your grandkid is doing pickleball or whatever, right? Then you're also texting his sister. So I mean, it's weird. It's a little bit much. Okay, I'm gonna go back on mute because Portia's being vocal, but yeah, it's giving Nancy Joe not as pristine of a look anymore because you're having a little bit too much interaction with the family pre-trial. If after the trial you want to get in touch with these people, that's your business, but it's just, and I get it. Maybe she really, really, really did like him a lot and was hopeful that there could have been something, but it turned out bad. So anyway,
That was him?
my opinion.
Because I've seen him on media via the situation surrounding you.
So you initiated a conversation with him?
I just said hi, and he asked me who my grandson was, and I pointed it out, and that was the end of it.
So you introduced yourself to him? To my brother?
I don't know that I introduced myself, but maybe.
How would he know who you were?
I don't know that he knew who I was. I knew who he was.
So you went up and talked to him?
I did talk with him, yes.
He didn't call you over, so you went up and talked to him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you were talking to him, you told him you were who?
I told him that my name was Nancy Jo Hancock.
And did he recognize that name from something?
Can I go back and change how I met your brother? I forgot this until right now. So on a dating app, your brother's picture came up on my dating app. And I sent him a message and said, but he had a different name that he used, not Adam. And so I just sent him a message and said if he was going to use someone else's pictures, he should probably pick someone different than Adam Cox. That's how I met him.
That's how you met my brother Adam?
Correct.
Do you know what perjury is?
Absolutely.
Can I object, Your Honor?
Question.
Argumentative, harassment.
Argumentative.
How long was this conversation that you had with my brother at the pickleball tournament?
A couple of minutes, maybe less.
And how many times had you communicated with him before that?
Only that message on that dating app. Besides that,
One message, one time?
I don't remember. I think he messaged me back, and it didn't continue.
So just the one day then? Maybe several messages in one day?
I might have sent him one other message, but it was just one interaction, and there was nothing further.
And you did not schedule a date with him?
I did not.
Okay. Have you ever spoken to Brandon Boudreau?
Yes.
Okay, when?
He attends the same church that my daughter does, and he happened to be at their house briefly, and I didn't really speak to him. I just knew that that's who he was
And how did you know who he was?
because my daughter told me.
And who did she say he was
Brandon Boudreau.
in relation to me?
She knows the story, and I know the story, so she just had to tell me that his name was Brandon Boudreau.
Mom, that's Brandon Boot. Mom, I mean, it is weird that she, but you know, again, the LDS community might be small. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Thank you to the sis. I appreciate Nancy Joe said, don't come for me unless I send for you, period. Okay. Um, it would be weird if this lady does. Yes, it must. They're in Phoenix though, Arizona. They're in Chandler. Girl, it's oh, I'm gonna direct you because I let me well, I don't want to I'll do something like towards the end because I did recap it the other day. So there were 2 full episodes. So Monday we were live with the opening statements and I read the article and I gave like a high level overview of the case. But okay, basically this woman here, she's a pro se defendant, okay? She's already got 3 life sentences in Idaho. They're in Phoenix, Arizona now, where her husband at the time was killed by one of her brothers, okay? Blondie over here was going crazy with some very extreme Mormon ideologies, and she got with this guy named Chad Daybell. Part of the conspiracy or part of the situation was that for me? That was in the mailbox? It said delivered. What's that? Oh, that's for you? Oh, I thought it was for me. Okay. Anywho, um, Lori was kind of being radicalized in a way in her religion, if they're, you know, and she was kind of some doomsday type ideologies. Anyway, she got with this guy, Chad Daybell. He was really crazy. He had a wife named Tammy. Um, Lori and Chad realized they wanted to be together. Okay. And they were both dumb as a bag of rocks and diabolical. Lori hatched, you know, this is the trial that basically allegedly she hatched a plan to take her husband out so she could marry Chad. And somehow, just by happenstance, Tammy, Chad's wife, dies. Turns out his wife was suffocated. They tried to say it was normal causes, but it wasn't. When they exhumed her body, turns out when they did the autopsy, it appeared that she had been suffocated, okay, in like a 2-person job. Anyway, now that cleared the way for 2 weeks after Tammy died for Lori and Chad to get married. Okay. So this is the trial now for Charles, blonde-headed's husband. Chad is already in jail, life sentences, and actually he's got the death penalty in Idaho. Okay. Um, Fast forward, Chad and Lori get together, they get married. I guess an inconvenience were her daughter, who she said was becoming more and more difficult to get along with, aka teenager, okay? And Charles and her adopted son, which was really Charles's great nephew, okay? And we're going to see the testimony of the grandmother of the little boy, JJ. JJ was um Kay's grandson, the son of her son. Okay. So it was Charles' great nephew, and he and Lori adopted JJ, and Tylee was her daughter, her only daughter. And both of the kids were um, unalived by the hands of Chad and Lori, and both of their remains were found in Chad's backyard. Okay. By happenstance again, somebody else died, Alex, which is Lori's other brother, and he was in the midst of all of these murders. Okay, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So it's a very interesting story. You can catch it on Netflix, Dateline, all over YouTube. This has been going on for about 5 years now. um and it's a lot. It's a lot. If you catch Monday's live stream, we talked a lot about what had happened. So, but that's kind of like basically a good summary of what's happened to that point. Did I say Chad? Oh, yeah, it's a lot.
That he was married to my
This lady right here in the pink jacket and the bust down, she met Charles the day before he passed away. Okay. We're going to go into the next day and we're going to see Adam, who is another one of Lori's brothers, who had a feeling that Alex and Lori had something going on. We will meet Kay, Charles's sister, who is the grandmother of the boy that was unalived. And then we'll also meet a best friend of Lori's who was starting to be concerned because Lori was acting weird.
niece. Is that the information that you had?
Brandon Boudreaux is the former nephew-in-law, if you will. So Lori's niece was married to a gentleman, and Lori was very tight with her niece, and they felt that her husband was becoming a zombie too. And there was a day that a vehicle that looks exactly like a vehicle that was in Charles Vallow's name that Tylee used to drive before she was unalived or went missing, that drove past Brandon Boudreaux's house and shot through the Tesla and grazed his ear. So Brandon Boudreaux felt like somebody was trying to kill him because his estranged ex-wife had taken off, and I think they were trying to unalive him too. And luckily he did not get unalived. So yeah, a lot going on.
I know that he was married to your niece, yes.
Okay. Just the association is all I was asking.
No.
That he was
So she just had to tell me that his name was Brandon Boudreaux.
married to my niece. Is that the information that you had?
I know that he was married to your niece, yes.
Okay. Just the association is all I was asking. And you did speak to him that time?
Well, I don't believe I spoke with him.
Okay. But you met him?
Or I don't know that I even met him. I was there. He was there with some other people, and I knew that that's who that was.
So you didn't introduce yourself to him?
I did not.
Okay. Did you speak to any other law enforcement besides Miss Kay? Not that she's law enforcement, but did you speak to any other law enforcement about this case or be interviewed?
Yes.
Who? Who did you speak with?
Detective Moffat is who interviewed me. I believe that's... I might have left a message for him. I couldn't tell you who with, but the only one that I spoke to was Detective Moffat, Nathan Moffat.
And when was that interview?
In 2020, I believe in April. A long time ago.
Okay. How long was that interview? About?
It was a telephone interview, and it lasted 45 minutes, I'd say.
Is that the only law enforcement that you spoke to besides the prosecutor?
Yes.
And how long between that interview with Detective Moffat and your first communications with Ms. Kay, how much time passed in between there?
With Trina Kay?
Correct.
I met with her just a month ago, 5 weeks ago, and I gave an interview in 2020, so.
Is that the first communication you had with Ms. Kay was 5 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Hancock, were you aware at the time of your date that I did not know that my husband was on dating websites and dating women?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Were you informed by him that I knew of the situation of us being separated?
Well, he was under the impression you were having an affair, so him moving on was a natural effect from that.
He told you that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Just to recap, you said that you met my husband Charles, on July 3rd. Is that correct?
Approximately. Give or take a day.
And you went on a date with him on July 10th.
Correct?
So that was what, 7 days later?
Approximately.
So would it be fair to say that you knew my husband for a week?
Approximately.
Okay. And then you had no contact with Charles after that, correct?
Well, he was dead, so clearly I didn't have contact with him.
Okay. And it wasn't until you saw that he had passed away on the news that you reached out to anyone, is that correct?
Correct? I didn't know he was dead.
And that was about 6 months later? Is that correct?
I believe it was December, so July to December is 5 months, I believe.
Okay. And then you found Charles' sister, Kay Woodcock, my sister-in-law, yes?
Objection, asked and answered.
I'm just going over the timeline, Your Honor.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
So when is the then you're referring to?
So at the 5 months later that you said in December, after that is when you contacted Kay Woodcock?
To express my condolences for her brother passing away and wanted to let her know that I had had dinner with him that last night and how much he loved JJ and how excited he was to see him the next morning. And just
Thank you, that's enough. I'm just recapping here, and you contacted her through Facebook, is that correct?
And again, asked and answered.
I don't think that was actually asked yet. I'll overruled. Go ahead.
yes, as I said before, I contacted her through Facebook.
Okay. And then sent a few text messages, is that correct?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
This is recap of everything we've already gone through.
And then you said you met with police on April 22nd, 2020, is that correct?
I didn't say April 22nd. I said I believed it was sometime in April.
Okay.
And I didn't meet with them. It was a telephone interview.
Okay. And that was around 1 year after my husband passed away, is that correct?
Well, July to April would be 10 months, so.
No more questions, Your Honor?
All right. Redirect.
Thank you. Did you reach out to the police, or did the police reach out to you after you learned Charles was?
I reached out to the police. I was surprised given that if they had seen his phone, they would see the text communication that we had had and that we had been at dinner that night before he died.
In terms of speaking with Charles's family, Kay Woodcock, did you know her before this?
No.
Had you heard her name through speaking with Charles?
Yes, from Charles. I knew that he had changed his life insurance to his sister Kay, and he talked quite a bit about Kay and his love for her and the relationship with JJ and how that they had adopted JJ.
So you understood the closeness he had with his sister?
Absolutely.
And you said you reached out to pay your condolences?
I did.
When you learned that Charles was dead, were you shocked?
I was watching the TV and it was talking about a case and his picture came on the screen and shocked is an understatement, yes.
In terms of talking with Kay, have you ever tried to talk to other people to learn about or verify if the stuff that Charles told you is accurate?
No.
Is what you are telling us just what he told you?
What I'm telling you is part of what he told me. There's a lot more.
And did you tell the police all of what he told you? that you could remember at that time, I should say.
I believe, no, I thought I would probably be interviewed again, and it was more an ask-answer format. There was, I remember being surprised that I wasn't interviewed again.
Okay. Because Charles had shared so much with you.
Correct.
In terms of the defendant's brother, Adam, did you ever talk with him about the case?
No.
Through media, did you recognize him?
I recognized him because I'd seen him on reports. And I knew that he was going to be testifying in this hearing.
When did you see him? When was this interaction
Like
at this pickleball?
a week and a half ago.
So a week and a half ago, when you see him at a pickleball tournament with your grandkid, you say hi to him?
Basically.
You don't talk at all about the case?
We might have talked about that we were testifying. I don't know. No details for sure.
Okay.
Just a general, and then he saw who my grandson was, and the end.
So nothing about, hey, I'm going to say this, or Charles told me this?
Absolutely not.
When you and I met, did we go through your testimony? Or let me get this right. Did we go through what you told the police?
Yeah.
Did I indicate to you to just tell the truth?
You told me to tell the truth.
Whatever that was.
Whatever that was.
You were asked about the fact that you knew Charles for basically a week, right?
Correct.
Did he make an impression on you?
Charles was a large personality. It would be hard not to be impressed by his wit and just gregarious, big personality with his southern accent.
You were asked a lot on cross about you dating a married man.
Correct.
What was your impression of where this relationship was between Charles and Lori Vallow when you and Charles started talking?
Well, I knew that they had separated and that they had reconciled, and I knew he had filed, and then he had recanted that. But he also had met with an attorney to begin the process again, and was very emphatic that he was done with all the craziness.
And was that last time something that you understood to be very recent?
Prior test meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
When he's talking to you, he's telling you about, you said, sort of the whole year of 2019, correct? But this last understanding that you had of him now going back to a divorce lawyer, was that something you understood to be very recent in time to that July 10th when you're meeting?
Correct.
Okay. And did you understand him to have even met with an attorney?
I believe he told me that, yes.
So that was where you were at.
Yes.
And that's what you understood Charles to be at.
Yes, and I will say, after having dinner with him, I did tell him that no one would want to be serious with him until he was further along in accomplishing that divorce that he was in the process of, including myself.
So even though you knew he was just barely starting now, did you still want to meet with him again?
Yeah, I wouldn't have entertained a serious relationship, but he was fun, and yeah, I would have met with him again.
All right. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Are there any questions for this witness from the jury? I see at least one question coming down. I think we have our white noise.
The jury asked questions?
Yep.
Okay, I don't think they asked her anything else. But that was the Nancy Joe testimony. That was pretty interesting. I think I feel like she was a good witness. I think the only problems with Nancy Joe is that she just happened to find herself in the 1 or 2 degree separation of people to Lori Vallow, which I think if you meet somebody and they unfortunately die by weird circumstances and you could be called to be a witness. It's just weird that you continue, like you end up finding yourself in the midst of these people. But then again, they belong to a church community that's, I guess pretty active church community. So it's not like it's super duper odd, but even if you just kind of know, like, oh, wow, that's, what I mean, like just keeping your distance. I wouldn't have even had like anything noteworthy of a run, like somewhere I could say, oh yeah, I ran into Brandon Boudreaux, or just having my daughter feel compelled to tell me, oh, that's so and so over there. You know what I mean? That was a lot. That was, to me, that was a little, but chance meeting, you met someone you liked, they passed away. Now all of a sudden you're a witness at the trial. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't think they ask her anything else. I think they pretty much.
To you, any indications of stress?
Definitely, he was very worried that
That, I think we'll just keep it with a yes/no answer for this question. Does the defense have follow-up based on that juror question? Does the defendant have follow-up based on that juror question?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
All right, state.
No.
All right, you can step down. Thank you.
Thank you.
State can call its next witness.
I thought he.
Okay.
Had you talked to Charles?
Okay. So this was Lori's brother. His testimony was, I mean, it wasn't super long, but it was interesting. He's another good witness. The thing with the brother is he is pissed at Lori. I mean, that was abundantly clear. If, and it happens with siblings. If you have a few siblings or whatever, sometimes there are going to be a couple that don't speak. I mean, it just happens. He is IC with his sister. He's not playing with her at all. Okay. And you can tell he very much has I'm not fucking with you, basically. Like I think he and Charles had from what it seems like, he and Charles had a good relationship, and he really may blame his sister, and that's it. That's all. I think he thinks and deservedly and rightfully so. Okay. All right, let's get into it. We might just do him, and then if you guys want to, we can do the friend. This is the friend, and then here's K. I don't know if I should take it down, then we can come back and do K. K is somewhere around, the K is before the end. This lady, I forgot what was she.
Cannot pass through it.
Okay, forensics. So maybe we'll get through the brother. I love how he testifies. Girl, he's very good. He's good. He's very good. And I mean good in the sense that he answers the questions. It's no fooling around. And so let's get through the brother's testimony. If anything, we can do the friend and K later. Those are the highlights. Maybe even the forensics, possibly, if you guys want to do the forensics. But the friend, who was like, yeah, Lori was acting a little weird. We went on a girls' trip and she acted super strange. Um, we'll do the brother and then we'll come back and do the friend and the sister if you're cool with that, either later today or tomorrow. But those were the highlights for me of this week. So I'm just wondering how the rest of it's going to go, because I feel like they're getting through a lot of the meat of the story quick. So anyway, anyone who's watching it, do you feel the same way, that it's moving along kind of quickly and it's not going to take 6 weeks? Okay, let's get into the brother's testimony and I'll see what it looks like on time. And if time permits, then we'll carry on, but we might just end with the brother and then we'll come back with the friend and Charles's sister. But right now you're getting ready to meet Lori's. You agree? Yeah, I feel like it's moving along and it's substantive. But the thing is, to me, it's all, and I don't not think for a minute that Lori didn't have something to do with it. You know how you know that you know that you know, right? I think that all of this, there's no amount of coincidences that would lead anyone to not believe that Charles wasn't killed by anybody but the doing of Lori, considering all of her plans and everything. But this is highly circumstantial. And I think she's asking all the wrong questions, but I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready to meet Adam Cox.
All right. Sir, come on up. You're going to stand right here and be sworn in.
Please spell your name for the record.
ADA Cox.
Please raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. All right, you're going to walk around the court reporter here. Have a seat to my left.
Sir, would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Adam Cox.
How old are you, Adam?
I just turned 56.
And what do you currently do for a living or for life?
I'm a pro pickleball player and instructor.
Where are you living now? Just what state?
I live in Arizona.
Back in July of 2019, where were you living?
Wichita, Kansas.
Okay. Prior to your pickleball career, did you have a different career?
I did.
What was that?
I was a radio morning show host.
Okay. Is that why you were in Wichita?
Yes.
Did that make you travel a lot?
Yes.
So I want to talk to you about your family first, okay?
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
How many?
5. Or
And-
4 siblings.
Can you tell us the names of the 5 siblings you had growing up?
Stacy, Alex, Lori, and Summer.
Okay. For Alex, did people refer to him as Al sometimes?
Yes.
And for Summer, did people call her Sum?
Yes.
Were your sisters Lori and Summer close?
Yes.
I want to ask you about another family member. Back in 2019, Melanie Boudreau. How is she related to your family?
Melanie is my oldest sister, Stacy's daughter, so she's my niece.
And was your sister Lori close with Melanie?
Yes.
Do you see your sister Lori in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point her out and tell us what she's wearing?
She's sitting there wearing black blazer.
Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
Good job.
In July of 2019, was your sister married?
Yes.
Who was she married to?
Charles Vallow.
And so in July of 2019, was your sister known as Lori Vallow?
Yes.
Do you know approximately how long Lori and Charles were married?
I think over 10 years.
Okay. Do you know if your sister, since the passing of Charles, married Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Did your sister Lori, have any children from prior marriages before she and Charles got together?
Yes.
And who were those?
Colby and Tylee.
Okay. And were they from the same marriage?
No.
By July of 2019, was Colby an adult?
Yes.
Do you have a son, Zach?
Yes.
Did your son Zach ever live with Lori and Charles for a bit?
Yes.
Did he move in there after Colby moved out?
Yes.
In July of 2019, was Lori's other daughter, Tylee, still under the age of 18?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Charles helped raise Colby and Tylee?
Yes.
Did you know if Charles had any children from prior marriage?
Yes.
Do you know if do you know how many children he had from a prior marriage?
I think 2.
Okay. And do you know if either of those 2 children lived with Lori or Charles?
Visited. I don't know if they ever lived there.
Okay. Did Lori and Charles have any kids together?
JJ?
Was JJ adopted? Okay. So did they adopt him together?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2019, did Lori and Charles have just JJ and Tylee as their kids living with them?
Yes.
Did Lori and Charles always live in Arizona?
No.
Where else did you know them to live?
Texas and Hawaii.
Okay. We had talked about your brother Alex or Al. Were you close with your brother Alex?
Somewhat.
Do you know where Alex was living in July of 2019? What state?
Arizona.
And can you describe your brother Alex's relationship with your sister Lori? Were they close?
I mean, I don't know if close is the word I would use growing up, but
Describe
just
for us.
normal brother-sister relationship, I guess.
As they became adults, did they continue to be close, or what do you recall of their relationship?
Over the last, I guess 4 or 5 years.
The last 4 or 5 years between them was what?
They were closer, they were close for like a year and a half. That's what I remember.
Before this happened?
Yeah, they became oddly close for a while.
How about the relationship between Charles and Alex? Do you recall what that was like?
Just a normal brother-in-law relationship, I guess.
Did you ever know them to do things just the 2 of them?
No, I don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay. Did your family sort of do a lot of big family events where everyone might be together?
Yes, yeah,
Birthday meals, holidays?
yes.
Adam, did you grow up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Yes,
And are you still a member of that?
yes,
At some point, was your brother Alex excommunicated?
yes.
Do you recall when that was?
I think he was excommunicated twice. So I'm not sure the dates or when that happened, but when he was an adult.
In 2019, was he still excommunicated to your knowledge?
Yes.
What does that mean to be excommunicated?
It means that you do certain things to where the church, it takes away your membership from the church.
Are you able to go to temple if you're excommunicated?
No.
Is that important?
Going to the church in our faith is important, yes.
Let's talk about your relationship with Charles Vallow. Did you and Charles ever text?
Yes,
Did you and Charles ever talk on the phone?
yes.
When Lori and Charles were married, were you aware that Charles would pay for things for the family, like cell phones?
Yeah, I heard that there's people in our family that they're on his business cell plan.
Or car insurance?
Don't know about car insurance, but
You knew about the cell phones.
yeah.
Did you know what Charles did for a living?
Yes.
What was it?
He sold insurance.
Okay. Did you know what kind of insurance?
No, he explained it one time, but he was doing something with school teachers or helping them with their situation.
Okay. Did you know whether or not Charles traveled a lot for work?
Yes.
Was he traveling to other states?
Yes.
And was that sort of throughout his marriage with Lori?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware of whether or not your sister, Lori, worked prior to marrying Charles?
Yes.
Do you know what kind of work she did?
She was a hairstylist.
Okay. After she married Charles, did she continue to work outside the home?
At a hair salon?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of.
Was it your understanding Charles worked so she could take care of the children?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So you were unaware of her doing any sort of outside work like she had done prior to being married to him?
Yeah, I don't know any of that.
At some point, did you learn or become aware of the fact that Lori and Charles were having some marital problems?
Yes.
Just yes or no, did you ever talk to Charles about why he and Lori were having marital problems?
Yes.
You yourself personally, were you aware of Lori having any beliefs that were outside of what is accepted by the LDS religion?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you were aware of that you knew to be outside the LDS religion?
Lori told me that she was in the process of translating from a mortal human being to an immortal human being, a celestial state.
That's something that the LDS religion supports?
I haven't heard of it and that it's happened here on Earth yet.
Did you ever hear her talking about being married to someone that is relevant in your religion?
Yes, I have heard that.
Did she tell that to you?
I don't know. I can't recall her telling me that, but I remember other people telling me that.
Okay. Was there anything else that you recall her telling you that she believed that seemed outside the LDS religion?
Yes. There was a time where she told me that she had more priesthood authority than the priesthood.
And why, can you explain for us what that means, why that was significant to you?
In our religion, the men hold the priesthood, and she said that she's in a state where she's above that.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand it, but very strange.
Did you confront her about these beliefs?
Confront her? No.
Did you discuss with her about these beliefs?
I just let her say what she wanted to say.
Was there ever a conversation where, when she was telling you these things, where she asked if you thought she was crazy?
Yes.
How did you respond to that?
I said, I don't know if you're crazy, but what you're telling me is not true. It's not real.
After you said that, what happened to your relationship with Lori?
She stopped talking to me.
Yeah. Were you ever aware of Lori believing that people could be dark or possessed by evil spirits?
I later have learned that, yes.
Did you ever try to tell your family about the beliefs that Lori had expressed to you?
Yes.
What was your family's reaction?
One of the reaction was, she's in a delusion, let her do whatever she's doing and she'll come out of it at some point.
How did this impact your relationship with your family when you're bringing up these concerns about Lori?
They basically cut me off.
So you bringing up your concerns about Lori's beliefs being at odds with the LDS religion sort of terminated your good relationship with your family?
Yes.
At the end of June of 2019, do you recall Charles sending you some emails that were purportedly written by him asking Chad Daybell to come out to Arizona and write a book for him?
Yes.
And did you, without going into it, did you review that email?
Yes.
Did you know Charles, what he had done in his life prior to selling insurance?
Yeah, I know that he played minor league baseball.
And in this email was the person pretending to be Charles asking about writing a book about his career?
Yes.
Was that something you knew Charles was not interested in?
No, he's not, or wasn't.
After you saw those emails that Charles had forwarded to you, where someone was reaching out to Chad, were they inviting Chad out to Arizona?
Yes.
After reading that and getting that forward and talking with Charles, did you believe that Lori was having an affair with Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Did you and Charles spend time talking about that?
Yes.
Was he kind of, I guess, in a tailspin? I'm not sure the best words to say from learning that.
Yeah, he seemed a little desperate.
Did Charles have some idea on how he thought he might be able to get Lori back into the LDS faith?
Yes.
What did you understand that to be?
Charles just thought that Lori was going overboard and that she was going to the temple like 5 times a week, and that's not normal in our religion, and that she was going a little off the wall. So he figured that if she got her temple recommend taken away from her, that she would come back to normal, who she was before she started in all this things that she was believing.
Now, you told us that you had heard yourself some ideas by Lori that were outside the LDS religion. Did Charles also tell you about other things that she had told him?
Yes.
Okay. And so, did you talk with Charles about something that we'll term an intervention?
Yes.
What did you mean by an intervention?
Intervention means he's kind of desperate because nobody in our family would talk to him. I'm sure that, Lori had told people in our family not to talk to him. So he thought that, having an intervention would be getting in front of her, recording her, giving it to the stake president, or having the stake president hear what she was talking about and hear the crazy things that she was saying.
So the intervention was part of the way to try to get her to come back to the mainstream LDS beliefs.
Yes.
Did Charles ask you to help him with this intervention?
Yes, he did.
Did you guys have a specific plan, like on X date at X time, we're going to do this?
No.
Had you talked to Charles about potentially going to Lori's and recording her on your phone?
Yes.
Did you talk to Charles and text him about another idea of having a family dinner and again recording her so that you could play that for the stake president?
Yes.
We're using a term there, stake president. Who is that? What is that in your religion?
Well, in our religion, we have our churches organized to where we have wards, and then a bigger, like 4 or 5 wards are in a stake, and then there's a president of the stake, and so it's somebody who's in charge of everybody in the stake.
Okay. So someone that's pretty high up in the church.
Yes, yeah.
And so the idea was to bring any of these recordings to show she's saying these things to his attention.
Yes.
And again, the point of that whole was to just try to take away her temple recommend.
Yes.
So on July 9th of 2019, did Charles talk to you about him flying you out so that you can help him with this intervention?
Yes, he did.
And did he offer to purchase your flight
Yes.
to bring you to Arizona?
Yes.
At that time, did your parents live here in Arizona?
Yes, they did.
At that time, was Lori here in Arizona?
Yes, she was.
And you told us your brother Alex was living here as well at that time?
Yes.
Was your sister Summer also living here at that time?
Yes.
And after Charles purchased your tickets, did you reach out to anyone in your family to ask if you could stay with them?
Yes.
Who did you reach out to?
Alex, my brother.
And did he offer to let you stay with him?
Yes, he did.
Were you supposed to fly in on the next day, July 10th?
Yes.
So your understanding was when you flew in on the 10th, you'd reach out to Alex and you'd spend the night there?
Yes.
Did you end up staying with him?
No, I did not.
So when you landed in Phoenix on July 10th of 2019, do you recall what time of the day it was approximately?
Sometime around lunch.
Okay. And did you reach out to Alex?
Yes, I texted him as soon as I landed.
Did you get a text response back?
No, I did not.
Was that unusual?
Yes.
So he's expecting you, right?
Yes.
Did you try calling him?
Yes, I did.
Did he answer your phone?
No, he did not.
Again, was that unusual to you?
Yes.
Did you think anything was odd at that time?
Yeah, at first I was like, he can't be that busy. He knows I'm coming.
Did Alex ever respond to you on the 10th?
No.
So he ghosted you.
Yes.
What did you think when you didn't hear back from Alex?
I just thought it was very strange and bizarre.
Okay. So you were supposed to be staying at Alex's when you talked to him on the 9th. Did Alex ever text you between when you guys talked and when you landed saying, oh, I'm going to go stay at Lori's?
No.
Did Alex ever call or text you and tell you, you know, I can't have you stay with me. I know I initially said okay, but not anymore?
No.
So he just ignored you.
Yes.
Where'd you end up staying?
My mom and dad's house.
Okay. On July 10th, did you understand Charles was also flying into Phoenix?
Yes.
Did you see Charles on the 10th?
No, I did not.
Did you see your sister Lori on the 10th?
No, I did not.
So you told us you stayed with your parents. What did you do on the 10th?
They picked me up and we went to lunch. And then we just, I think, hung out at the house.
You said your son Zach lived here at the time?
Yes.
Who was he living with at that time?
I think he was living with my mom and dad.
Okay. So although you didn't talk with Charles on the 10th, did you have an understanding of what he was going to do the morning of the 11th?
Yes.
What was that?
He was going to go pick up JJ, his son. It was his turn to, I guess, have him for a few days or whatever.
Were Charles and JJ really close?
Yes.
So the morning of July 11th, you were not expecting to get together with Charles at 7 in the morning, right?
No.
Did you get a text message from Charles?
Yes, I did.
And did you learn where Alex was?
Yes, I did.
Where did you learn Alex was?
Alex was at Lori's house.
When you learned this, was Charles texting you sort of in real time as he is coming to the house,
Yes.
explaining to you what he's seeing and what's going on?
Yes.
And are you responding back to him?
Yes.
So you're at your mom and dad's house when you start getting these text messages from Charles?
Yes.
When you learned that Alex was at your sister's, what were you thinking?
I just thought something weird is happening because he never answered my text the whole day I was there, never returned a call. And then all of a sudden he said he's at Lori's house. And I didn't even know what to think at that point. I thought something was off.
So immediately you knew something was off.
Yeah.
From the prior day where Alex ghosted you to now he's at your sister's that morning when Charles was going over to pick up JJ.
Yes.
Were you concerned that Alex was at your sister's house?
A little concerning, yes.
Have you seen text messages that you and your brother-in-law Charles had sort of making the flight reservations and leading up to the morning of the 11th?
Yes.
And were those all messages that you two had as you're trying to figure out how to have this intervention?
Yes.
And then ultimately, what you are seeing and saying that morning at 7:30 in the morning?
Yes.
And I've shown defendant Exhibit 210, if I can have a paralegal approach with that.
Go ahead.
Adam, if you can take a look at those and let me know if you recognize those as text messages that you had with Charles, sort of the 9th, 10th, and 11th, as you are interacting leading up to that morning and including the morning of the 11th.
Yes.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 210 pursuant to 8031 as present sense impressions.
Yes, Your Honor, we object in lieu of that is a report and not the full extraction.
All right, well, may I see that particular objection wouldn't prohibit admission, it would go toward weight, but give me a second here. All right. I'll admit 210.
And if I may publish it then, Your Honor. And if I could have the album. Thank you. Adam, I'm going to start sort of going back to, in Exhibit 210, the conversations that you and Charles were having as you're trying to come up with a way to have this intervention, all right? So you learned that Charles was reaching out. Well, let me ask you this. You had learned from Charles about this fictitious email, correct?
Yes.
Did you learn that Charles had reached out to Lori about it?
One more time?
Did you learn that Charles had reached out to Lori about this email?
Yes.
Did you learn that he had reached out to Chad Daybell's wife about it?
I think I remember that.
These are text messages. Were you also receiving emails from Charles?
Yes.
Does this sort of array of messages start to involve where you and Charles are talking about having you come out to Arizona to help with this intervention?
Yes.
Let me say something really quick. So I told you that Chad Daybell's wife came up dead. And Charles was concerned because she wasn't dead yet, put it that way. Charles died first, then Tammy, right? Charles became aware that Lori was cheating, and he emailed Tammy Daybell. Now, it's possible, we don't know for a fact whether Tammy saw it or not, but Tammy did die. So we're not sure if she ever saw or learned that Lori was sleeping with her husband, but Lori was basically playing in her face, okay? Charles decided to email Tammy to tell her to come to her as a man, okay? We've heard that on the YouTube streets this week. So when someone comes to you as a woman, he came to her as a man, the other spouse, to let her know that her husband was messing with his wife, okay? Because he wanted to work things out. So, that's what was going on behind the scenes, when he's reaching out on Mormon Mingle to women, is that really and truly he did want his marriage to work, but he was, I guess, being a man and keeping his options open because that's what men do. So that actually may have put Tammy in danger sooner than later because she became aware, she possibly became aware that her husband was cheating with Lori, and that put her in danger. So Charles put that letter out. It possibly got intercepted by Chad, And then they went ahead and Chad and potentially Alex snuffed her out, basically and literally. Okay. That's what they're talking about at this moment. Was that they wanted to do an intervention. That's another reason why they thought that Charles was coming to town, was to do some sort of an intervention with Lori to tell her that her beliefs were out of this world and that, you know, she needed some help and this, that, and the other thing, and that he wanted the marriage to work. So Charles really was coming to town in good faith to, number one, see his son / great nephew, and to potentially work things out with his wife. And he ultimately met with his death when he got to the house. He got JJ, put JJ in the car. Lori came, stole his phone, and that made him get out the car, go in the house, and then he proceeded to get into it with Alex, and then the rest is the reason why everybody's in court. Okay.
And so do we see on the 9th, you letting him know that you could fly out tomorrow and come home Saturday or Sunday?
Yes.
Do we see, as you continued on, he tells you that he could fly you in on Southwest, and he's telling you he's just right now landing in LA, right?
Yes.
And you knew he traveled a lot for work.
Yes.
When we get to the 9th at 9:11 a.m., did you...
Yeah, she's amusing. She's not doing horrible. But my question is, as far as having having a 2 advisory council, when she does get stuck, she gets frustrated, and she's, you know, why she's not consulting with her advisory council, and why advisory council is not giving her the sign of, like, you should object to that. This is your argument for that. I mean, they know she's not a lawyer. That's what you have advisory council for. But like I said, maybe advisory council was told to stand down until she actually asks for help, rather than me personally. If I were in Lori's position, I would say, if you see me going left and I should be going right, I want you to let me know. If there's something I'm missing, I want you to work. I want you working. Okay. I want you to help me. So as I'm taking the lead, if there's something that needs to be interjected upon, then I need you to interject. Okay.
Did you get a message from Charles about...
Right. She might have told them to stand down and not to get in her way, but baby, that's a mistake.
how you were going to get everyone together without Lori knowing that you're going to have this intervention?
Well, who needs news coverage? Okay. When you got bougie gang. Okay.
Yes.
Aw, thank you, Bible lady. You're so
And is that
sweet.
one of the ideas where you indicated that I'll go see Lori at her house and have a talk with her and keep your phone on record?
Yes.
So that was sort of one idea of a potential way to show the stake president that she was having these ideas outside the LDS faith?
Yes.
Does Charles kind of tell you he's not sure that that's really going to work?
Yeah.
He says, I think she'll leave, but it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Did you then suggest also have a family dinner with everyone and then say, always leave my phone on to record what I say and what everyone else says?
Yes.
And then you go on to say that's to have proof for Holmes. Who's Holmes?
President Holmes. He was our stake president, or their stake president.
You were in Wichita, but he was the stake president here.
I lived here before, and he was in my ward, so I know him.
So when you're talking about the stake president, Holmes is who it actually is?
Yes.
Okay. On the 9th, does Charles tell you that, got it, but honestly, if you, Zach, Brandon, and me go to him, that should be enough? She will feel like we ambushed her, but something has to be done. She'll be real careful what she says. Had you brought Brandon into this yet? Like, did you have a plan to have him come with you?
No, but Brandon played basketball with us on that night. So me and Zach and Brandon played basketball where President Holmes played basketball at a church. So that was that reference.
Okay. So you thought if we go to the church, Brandon will be there and he can help you talk about
say
this.
that, yeah.
Okay. But Brandon's not part of this conversation right here, right?
No.
Then does it kind of go back to Charles asking for your information so he can make your flight reservations?
Yes.
Okay. Then at 1:13 p.m., does Charles let you know that your flights are booked and that he emailed that to you? Mm-hmm. And then does he go on to say, I'm really uneasy about how she will respond, not only to you, but to me and Zach and Brandon? Right?
Yes.
In talking with Charles and this intervention, was there a constant concern of how she would respond to trying to take away her temple recommend?
Yes.
Was some of that based upon your understanding of the things she had said to Charles in the past?
That and others. Apparently, Lori was flighty. When Charles tried to serve her divorce papers, she disappeared and nobody knew where she was. So in Charles's mind, that she could be flighty and just take off again, where nobody would know where she is. So there was some definite reference to that as well.
Okay. Then it goes on to say, I'll pick up JJ and take him to school. So you knew what he was doing that next morning, right?
Yes.
And you said she'll be there, right?
Yes.
Friday the same. So you knew his idea was he was going to be with his son in the mornings, Thursday and Friday?
Yes.
And then you said she'll be highly suspicious about recording. If you can bring a second device and put your phone on the counter or turn it off, it might help. Is that sort of the same idea that he was unsure that she would trust you showing up there and trying to ask her about those things?
Yes, this was all just it seemed like Charles was just desperate, and he wanted to do anything he could this is the last ditch effort to try to shake Lori loose of whatever she was under, some spell that he said. So, that's basically what happened.
And then does he go on again to talk about that he really thinks the only thing that's going to break her out of this is going to Holmes?
Yeah. Yes.
And that she's hurting too many families and that he's upset his is gone.
Yes.
Does he say that he still loves her?
Yes.
And does he think that she's basically potentially gone forever?
Yes.
And then we see that he corrected slots to Lori, right?
Yes.
Typo?
Yes. Lots of typos.
On July 10th at 3:34, do you get a text from Charles asking if you're in Phoenix?
Yes.
And do you respond, yes, you're going to Summers, and that you'll call him?
Yes.
And then does Charles let you know he's got a meeting, but he'll try to call you before he goes to see Lo? Who is Lo?
Lo is Lori.
So people would call her Lo or Lolo?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you remember if you talked to Charles on the 10th?
On the 10th? What day was that?
The day before. So when you flew in, did you ever talk to Charles?
No, I don't remember talking to him then.
So even though you guys had attempted to call, you don't recall if you ever spoke with him that evening or afternoon?
Right.
So at this point, you'd said you went to Summers in the text messages, and then later you stayed at your parents' for the night?
Yes.
And then you knew that Charles would be going to pick up his son the next morning. Did you assume that you and Charles would meet up or talk sometimes later that day?
I figured so.
Okay, but you had no scheduled timeline for
Nothing
that?
planned.
Okay. So next in Exhibit 210, we see text messages from July 11th of 2019 at 7:35 a.m., where Charles texted you, Al is here. And then just a couple seconds later, he said, at Lori's. Was this shocking to you?
Yes.
And what did you respond back? Did you say, really, I wonder why he never called me back?
Yes.
And then we see that you wrote at 7:36 and 28 seconds, they are planning something. Why did you write that?
Because Alex not answering his phone the whole day and me calling him and texting him, not knowing where he's at. Nobody in my family said they heard from him or knew where he was. All that is very suspicious to me. And then Alex being at Lori's house that morning felt like something was really off.
So when you told Charles they're planning something, Charles responded back, absolutely. Did you then let him know that you were supposed to spend the night at Alex's house? She probably blocked that.
Yes.
Did Charles respond to you, what you do is up to you?
Yes.
So were you kind of upset at your brother for telling you you could stay with him and then ghosting you, ignoring you?
Yes.
Were you upset at him for being at Lori's house when Charles was going there just to pick up JJ?
Yes.
Did you then text him, I'm going to put the pressure on to have him come get me right now, see what he says?
Yes.
Did you in fact text your brother?
Yes.
Did he respond back?
No.
As we're going along here, we see that each of these are being read sort of in this short period of time, these couple minutes that Charles is here as he's driving in. After you texted him about putting the pressure, texted Charles about putting the pressure on to have him come get me right now, did you then say okay to Charles?
Yes.
And then we see again that at 7:49:34 a.m., you texted Charles, me and Zach are going to the Stake Center tonight at 8 to play basketball. Holmes is always there, either playing ball or interviewing people. I will try to catch him and have a conversation with my old friend.
Yes.
What was that about?
That was just part of the plan that Charles initially came up with to somehow get in front of the stake president. That night, he's a stake president. He interviews people for Temple Recommends and also plays basketball afterwards. So that was just a thought of maybe this could be something that we could do to help with that situation.
Okay. Now, up until 7:37 and 7, you had been interacting with Charles, right? You would respond and you were getting some text messages back from him.
Yes.
We see after 7:37 where he texts you, what you do is up to you, that he didn't respond back to any of your other comments, right?
Right.
So when you sent him at 7:37 and 29 seconds that you're going to put the pressure on him, you meant Al?
Yes, Alex.
To come get you. Charles didn't respond to that?
No.
And in fact, it shows that that message was read at 12:13 p.m. versus the earlier messages that were read sort of right in time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And when you told Charles that you and Zach were going to go to the Stake Center to play basketball and see if you could find Holmes, did you get a response from Charles?
No.
And again, we see that that was read at 12:13, correct?
Yes.
Did you go talk with Holmes that night?
I went to go play basketball, but he wasn't there.
Was it just you and Zach?
Yes.
During the day of July 11th, at any time, did you learn that Charles Vallow had been shot?
No.
So Lori did not call you and tell you that Charles had been shot?
No.
Alex didn't call you to tell you that he'd shot your brother-in-law?
No.
Anyone in your family talk to you about it?
Nope.
How about the next day, Friday, July 11th? Did Lori tell you Charles had been shot?
No.
Alex contact you to tell you that he'd shot Charles?
No.
Anyone in your family talk to you about that?
No.
Did you decide to go visit a friend in Tucson on Saturday the 13th now?
Yes.
What were you going down there for?
Going to see my friend Eric.
And did anyone come with you?
Yes, Zach did, my son.
Okay. When you went down there, did you talk with Eric about what's going on?
Yeah, I just thought it was really fishy that I heard from Charles. I didn't know if he took JJ and just was having one-on-one time with JJ. I didn't know if Lori and him were getting back together and Lori told him not to talk to me. Or my mind was spinning. Like, I had no clue what was going on.
Had you talked to any of your family about it? Were you still keeping that intervention thing secret from them? At that point?
No, at that point, but I think my nobody had heard from, I asked if anybody had heard from Alex, and nobody said that they heard from Alex in my family. But at that point, I was there spending time with my son, Zach, also to help Charles with what he wanted to try to get an intervention with Lori, and also to see my friend Eric, because I live in Wichita, so I was trying to do 3 things at one time on my short visit.
So on the 11th or 12th, though, were you still keeping that sort of secret that you and Charles had been wanting to do an intervention on Lori?
Yes.
You weren't telling your family, like, I don't know why we're not doing this?
Charles asked me not to tell anybody.
And was that actually sort of a message you guys had talked about of who in your family might be, might prevent any type of intervention?
Yes.
And who in your family were you guys concerned with if they learned about the intervention might try to stop it?
Mom and Dad, Summer.
Alex, too?
Alex, yes.
So even though you're here and you're seeing your family and you're seeing your son, you don't want to tell them a lot about Charles because you're trying to still keep that quiet in case he does want to go forward with it.
Exactly, yes.
So you're in Tucson and you start talking to your friend about Charles.
Yes.
Do you learn at some point that Charles has been killed?
Yes. I was talking with Eric saying something doesn't feel right. I haven't heard from Charles, and usually he would text me or send me a message or something. And then Eric asked me, he goes, well, what's his last name? And I said, Vallow. And he was on his computer and he just Googled Charles Vallow. And he said it popped up that he's been killed by his brother-in-law.
So you learn this. What is going through your mind now?
Just everything, chaos. I had a knot in my stomach. Just probably one of the worst feelings I've ever felt in my life.
Obviously, you had been concerned that something was being planned when you told Charles that on the morning of the 11th, right? But
well,
not that.
Not that, but yeah, it felt like something was off, that why Alex would be at Lori's house that morning.
Did you know your brother Alex to carry guns with him?
Yes.
Did he regularly go shooting with guns?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to Charles being shot and killed, did you ever tell Lori that you were going to be trying to do this intervention with her?
No.
Prior to Charles being shot, did you ever tell Alex, hey, I'm going to stay with you, but we're trying to do an intervention with Lori?
No.
What about your parents? Did you ever tell them you were going to try to do an intervention?
No.
Your sister Summer?
No.
So if your sister told detectives a couple hours after Charles was shot that she was confronting Charles about you and Charles talking and texting, it wasn't something that you told her about?
No.
You told us that you are LDS. Have you ever taught Sunday school?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the story of Nephi?
Nephi? Mm-hmm. Well, Nephi was a prophet in the Book of Mormon. It's the first chapter. He was a prophet, very humble and faithful servant of the Lord. Ironically enough, his brothers tried to kill him at one point. But he actually ended up going to Jerusalem to get these plates back, and he was run off, came back, and then went back again because the Lord asked him to. And when he did, the King Laban, who was actually a wicked king, was laying on the ground drunk in front of him, and Nephi was told to kill Laban.
Who was he told by?
The Spirit, or, yeah,
Okay.
God.
So God was using a Holy Spirit to tell him to kill Laban? And
Yes.
did he?
Yes, he did.
Was that something he anguished over?
Yes.
But ultimately, it was a justified killing.
Yes.
So was the concept that it was better for Nephi to kill this one evil man and sort of benefit the nation and his descendants?
Yes.
Were you aware that that your sister had told people that Charles was possessed by evil spirits?
Yes.
Were you aware that your sister had told people that your brother-in-law Charles was dark?
Objection, calls for hearsay.
It's whether or not he was aware of it.
Whether
Yes or
he's
no?
aware, he can answer yes or no.
Yes.
When you and Charles were talking about this intervention, were you trying to help your sister come back to mainstream LDS beliefs?
Yes.
So it wasn't just Charles, but also her.
Yes.
You told us that your friend had Googled and learned that Charles was killed. Did you know at that time it was by your brother Alex?
That's what the article said. So yes, he told me that.
What did you do after you learned that?
Freaked out for a little bit, cried, didn't know what to do. Thought my world was coming apart. Then I got angry a little bit, and then called first thing I did, I called Kay, who's Charles's sister, and asked her, because she's the only one that I felt safe calling after knowing my family was involved in this or thinking of this, that I asked her if she knew that Charles was dead, and she said she just learned of it too.
Did you learn from your friend when, because it's now the 13th when you learned this, right?
Yes.
Did you learn when that happened?
Yes, I did.
So you knew on that Saturday, the 13th, that Charles had been killed that morning
Yes.
of July 11th.
Yes.
Did you ever come back to Phoenix and confront anyone in your family about this or talk to them about it?
Yes. After I talked to Kay, then I called my mom and asked her if she knew that Charles was dead. And she said yes. And I said, what's going on? And she said, you tell me what's going on. And at that point, I thought that was bizarre that she would say that. So I said, well, we need to sit down and talk. And she said, yes, we do. And so me and Zach got in the car and drove back to Phoenix.
Did you go to your mom's house?
Yes, I did.
Did that conversation go well?
No.
Did this create a break in your relationship with your mom?
Yes.
Did you stick up for Charles?
Yes.
Did sticking up for Charles create issues between you and most of your family?
Yes.
Did you continue to stick up for Charles even with that happening?
Yes.
After you had that argument with your mom, what did you do?
Me and Zach left her house, and we were staying at Summer's house, my sister, who was away on vacation. And we were staying at her house, and we went back to her house. We were watching her dog.
You were supposed to leave the next morning, Sunday, to go back to Wichita. Did you return back home?
Yes, we did.
Did your son go with you this time?
Yes, he did.
After this whole incident happened, did you not talk with your family for a long time?
Yes.
Did it cause a lot of friction in your family?
Yes.
Have you started to try to talk with your family some?
Yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Mr. Cox, how long has it been since we've seen each other in person?
Don't know.
When was the last time you saw me?
I don't recall.
So, has it been a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years,
Something
6
like
years,
that.
7 years, 8 years?
Something?
Okay, so you have no idea.
Nope.
You have no idea when the last time you saw me in person?
I don't know the year or how many years it's been.
Okay, so did you see me at Colby's wedding in January 2018?
No, I was not there.
You didn't come to Colby's wedding.
No, I did not.
It was like,
So did you
oops.
see me sometime that year at my house
Possibly.
where Colby got married? That house.
I did see you at that house, yes.
At least one time.
Yes.
So possibly in 2018.
Yes.
And when was the last time we had any communications?
The last time I remember our communications was you and I were speaking in the kitchen when the family was over.
Okay, so you think that was that time in 2018?
I think so.
Okay. And were we eating my green chili chicken enchiladas?
Do not remember that.
I don't know. Was she trying to make him laugh? Was she trying to get to him through his stomach? I don't understand that question, but baby, nobody cares about your green chicken chili enchiladas, baby.
You do not remember that?
Nope.
Is that what I made every time we had a family get together, which was like 10 times a year?
I don't remember that.
Okay. And when was the last time that we had a phone call or text message?
I have no idea.
Could it possibly be around that exact same time?
Possibly.
Okay. So that was possibly in early 2018?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you think initiated the final communication in our relationship?
Who concluded it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So right now it's 2025, is that correct?
Yes.
And so we haven't spoken in about 8 years? Would that be correct?
It's probably 7 or 8 years.
Okay. So would you say up until that point that how often would we communicate before that?
Before what?
Before 2018?
Probably on a regular basis. Once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month.
Like a call or a text message?
Yes.
Just keeping in touch?
Yes.
You know of us living in Hawaii and you were living in Kansas at the time?
Yes.
And in your career, you lived in lots of different places, is that correct?
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
Dallas,
Yes.
New York,
Yes.
Wichita,
Yes.
Sacramento.
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Others?
And I was in Texas,
Yes.
Arizona,
Yes.
Hawaii.
Yes.
So would you say that we were not physically close during the past 20 years?
Yes, I would say that.
So our communication would be solely family get-togethers, occasional text messages. Is that correct?
And phone calls, yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Cox, did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with my brother Alex Cox to murder my husband Charles Vallow?
Repeat that again?
Okay. Did you see with your eyes or hear with your ears or personally witness me conspire with my brother Alex Cox to murder my husband Charles Vallow?
No.
Thank you. No more questions.
Talked to your sister since Charles was shot and killed?
No.
So since that happened, you cut off all communications with her?
Yes.
Prior to that, you were being asked about 2018 being at Lori and Charles's house. Was that the time where Lori told you she was becoming a celestial being?
Yes.
And the time where she was telling you other ideas that were not in line with the LDS faith?
Yes.
After you had heard those statements by your sister, you told us that she had asked you if you thought she was crazy, right?
Yes.
And you had responded back how?
I don't know if you're crazy, but what you're telling me is not true.
After you told her that her beliefs were not true, did that sort of end your talking with her?
Yes.
You were asked if you personally saw, heard your sister Lori conspire to kill Charles. Were you there that morning?
No.
Were you the person who was supposed to, though, be with Alex on the 10th into the morning of the 11th? You spent the night with him?
If I would have spent the night with him, yes.
So that stood out to you because you had made plans with your brother, right?
Yes.
And instead, you learned he was at Lori's house.
Yes.
You told us that you thought it was odd that your brother would be over at your sister's house at 7:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And you were aware that your brother had guns.
Yes.
Charles was going there to pick up JJ, right?
Yes.
And so, did it seem odd to you that your brother would bring a gun that was loaded with extra magazines that was not safe to your sister's house where JJ was?
Objection, out of scope. This is not
Goes
just
to the
a
conspiracy.
redirect. This is not just a redirect.
Hey, I didn't ask for argument. Okay. The objection's overruled.
What's the question?
Sure. Did it stand out to you that your brother, who knew JJ, would bring a loaded gun and extra ammunition to the house where JJ was running around?
Well,
It wasn't-
I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
You're saying afterwards?
Yeah, you learned afterwards your brother killed him, right?
Yes.
And when we're talking about this conspiracy and things that are going on, did that seem odd to you that your brother would bring a loaded gun and extra ammunition in this unsafe way to a house where your, sister's son, JJ, lived?
Yeah, it seems extreme.
When you were talking to your family after this happened, did you actually tell them that you believed that Lori and Alex had conspired to kill Charles?
Yes.
Why was that?
Because Lori had told people that Charles was no longer living, that some guy named Ned was inside of his body, that there was a zombie living inside of him. And Alex didn't respond to any of my text messages when I was supposed to be with him. And he was at that house that morning. Lori talking crazy about how she's a translated being. All these things all added up into that moment and that morning. Once I found out on Saturday that Charles was shot and killed, no doubt in my mind that they killed him. That's a feeling that I got.
And you told your family that?
Yes.
No other questions?
The last line of questioning from the possession of the gun on, I think the defendant's right, was technically beyond the scope of her cross. So based on that, I'll allow the defendant, if she wants to recross on those issues, if she elects to, may do so now.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, are there any questions from any member of the jury? Not seeing any, sir, you can step down. You can step down. Thanks. So you can call its next witness.
Thank you. If I may go get her.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, we're gonna stop right here. I feel like this is a good stopping point. This is Lori's friend right here. She's gonna talk about a girls' weekend. And then right here is Charles' sister. And that's gonna be roughly about another like an hour of testimony. So, and that'll get us mostly caught up. There is some forensic information. For me, I feel like, you know what? Not that the forensic evidence is not important, but we know who killed Charles. It was Alex. So, definitely I would suggest catching up on that, but I'm not as, this isn't a murder mystery. This is more of are they going to be able to pin, is someone going to pay for Charles' death? Portia, hush. Is someone going to pay for it because Alex is dead? Lori's other brother and the one who would have done it. And Lori probably cooked up the scheme with Alex to make that happen. The best part of the friend was that Lori asked her when she started. The best part of the friend was that what Lori asked her when she started the cross. Okay, we'll look at that either later today or tomorrow. I don't think we're gonna do it today. We'll do it tomorrow, and we'll just do like another little bop over here. Portia is aggressive, girl. So she's not okay. Let me take that back. But girl, when she sees a ham sandwich or a turkey sandwich, baby, she is all over it. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. This was fun. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this. But yeah, the Monica Semmentelli verdict is in. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. I am going to drop a highlight reel in just a second with the verdict. We talked about it in the middle of this. So anyway, guys, you guys take care. I will see you a little bit later on today. Bye, guys. See you later.